At the very end of Borden Street stands a house that no one speaks about. It should have been torn down years ago. Its walls sag like a corpse left too long in the sun. The windows are jagged and empty, and the porch droops forward as if the house itself is too exhausted to remain standing. But no one touches it. People cross the street rather than walk past it. Kids who bike up and down the neighborhood suddenly lose their nerve when they approach its overgrown yard. Even stray dogs won't step near the rotting fence line because the house isn't abandoned. Not really. I found that out the hard way. A dare gone wrong. It was last October when my friends dared me to go inside. Typical Halloween stupidity. 5 of us hanging out, watching horror movies, and getting a little too brave with each other. The house came up in conversation, and before I knew it, my best friend Mark grinned and said, "Bet you won't go inside." The others laughed, and I played along, acting tough. "Fine," I said. "I'll go in, take a picture, and be back in 5 minutes." I wish I had just backed out. The air outside was dead silent as I approached the house. My friends whispered behind me, their voices small against the pressing darkness. The front door loomed ahead, cracked and swollen with age. I reached out, hesitated for just a second, then pushed. The door groaned, the sound stretching into the night like a dying breath. Inside, the air was thick and humid, like stepping into the lungs of something alive. The smell was unbearable. Mold, wet wood, and something sickly sweet beneath it all. The kind of smell that makes you think of something rotting. I pulled out my phone and snapped a picture. Flash illuminated the foyer for a split second. Peeling wallpaper, an old staircase choked with shadows, and doorways that led into deeper darkness. My heart pounded. "Get out. Just leave." Then I heard it. A whisper. It wasn't behind me. It wasn't upstairs. It was inside the walls. A slow, papery sound, like something shifting just beneath the surface. My breath caught in my throat. Maybe it was the wind. Maybe a rat, a raccoon, some poor animal trapped behind the drywall. But then it said my name. Ethan. I nearly dropped my phone. It was soft, almost thoughtful, like whatever it was had been expecting me, like it had been waiting. The stairs creaked. Not from me. Someone, something was coming down. I didn't see it at first, just the shadows moving, something wrong with the way they flickered and swayed. My hands felt cold and far away, like they weren't even mine anymore. Then it stepped into the light. It saw me. It wasn't human. It looked human, but the way it moved, too slow, too deliberate, was all wrong. It was tall, but slouched forward. Its head tilted too far to the side, like its neck had been snapped. Its mouth hung open in a silent scream, the skin around it sagging like melting wax. But the eyes, there were no eyes, just black, empty sockets that seemed to breathe in the dark. It took another step, and another. The floorboards beneath it made a wet sound, like something rotting through. My chest felt tight, like the air had been sucked from the room. I wanted to move. I needed to move, and then it raised its hand. Fingers too long, bones visible beneath thin, yellowing skin, and it reached for me, the escape that wasn't. I ran. My body snapped back into motion, and just as the thing let out a slow, rattling breath, I didn't look back. The front door loomed ahead, still cracked open, still offering escape. But just before I reached it, the door slammed shut. I skidded to a stop, slamming my hands against the wood, clawing at it. The house was breathing now, the walls expanding and contracting like lungs. My heart was hammering, my fingers slipping against the damp, rotted surface. Behind me, I heard wet footsteps, coming closer. I fumbled for the knob, twisting it so hard my wrist popped. It wouldn't turn. The thing was almost behind me. I could feel it, the weight of its presence pressing against my back, like a hand resting too lightly on my shoulder. The whisper came again. Stay. I don't know how, but I broke free. The door flew open, and I stumbled out, falling hard, onto the porch. The air outside felt sharp and clean, like I had broken through the surface of deep water after nearly drowning. My friends laughed, thinking I had just spooked myself. Dude, what happened? Mark grinned. I turned back to the house. And then I saw it. The windows weren't empty anymore. Something was watching from inside. I ran. I didn't care about my friends. Didn't care what they thought. I just ran. It follows. I moved away the next year. New city, new house. I never talked about what happened. But the thing about something like that, it doesn't stay where you left it. Some nights, when I'm lying in bed, I hear it. Not outside, not down the hall. Inside the walls, a dry, papery whisper. A single word. Ethan. And then, wet footsteps coming closer.